In the first part of this PowerPoint presentation, I'm just going to kind of introduce the concept of the cult of the cross. When I say cult here, I don't mean the way we moderns tend to think of it as some weird religious fringe group that brainwashes its followers. No, in the medieval context, when we use the term cult, we mean a movement of intense veneration for a particular object or person. So, for example, there's a cult of the Virgin Mary. There's a cult of the Eucharist that becomes very powerful. And the cult of the cross is a movement which really venerates, which really, worship is the wrong word because the worship is supposed to be reserved for God, but really sees the cross as a personal conduit to God. Now, this begins really with the Emperor Constantine, who founds a second capital for the Roman Empire in the East. He names it Constantinople very immodestly. It becomes known as the capital of Byzantium, the Byzantine Empire, which is to say the Eastern Roman Empire. And it is now known as Istanbul because Constantinople fell in 1453 to the Ottoman Turks. But that's an important point because that's 1,000 full years really after the fall of the Western Empire. Now, as the story goes, round about the year 312 in the Common Era, or AD Anno Domini, about 400 years after Christ. I'm sorry, about 300 years after Christ. We have the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, and Constantine is said to have been on the eve of this great battle, and he doesn't know that he's going to be able to persevere, but he has a vision. It's really the archetypal dream vision, we call it, of the Middle Ages, and this is important because we have many texts which take the dream vision as their genre after this, and the Dream of the Rood, which we're going to discuss, is one of these. So this really has to do with the what we call the invention of the cross. The mother of Constantine, Helen, known to us as Saint Helen, is supposed to have found the true cross in the Holy Land about 14 years after the Battle of Milvian Bridge. But in his dream vision, Constantine heard this voice say, "By this sign ye shall conquer," and he sees this giant cross in the sky, and supposedly he has his troops fashion crosses, and then they carry them before them in battle, and they're victorious, and therefore Constantine decides that he's going to become a Christian. This isn't good history, but it's great legend making, and so this is supposedly the story of the conversion of the Roman Empire. As I say, it's nowhere near that simple, but it becomes this really important part of the culture of Christian Europe. This idea of this veneration of the cross, and this idea that this sign ye shall conquer, that the sign of the cross is no longer this marker like a gallows of a very horrible way to die, but really is a sign of victory. And this becomes hugely popular in the Britain right after the conversion, especially in what we used to call Anglo-Saxon England, in the what is today England and southern Scotland.